All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are live. So why don't you go ahead and put in the comments if you can hear me loud and clear. A little bit of a different show this evening, a little bit more casual. That's right, we're going to go through some general updates, a little bit of discussion, and I can answer some of your questions. Should you have any questions, you can put them in the comments, or if you don't, just sit back and hopefully this will be an interesting show and we'll see what eventuates. Ladies and gentlemen, lots and lots going on in the background. So I'd like to thank everybody that is here with me right now. Go ahead and give the broadcast a thumbs up or write something in the comments just to let me know that we are connected. We've had a few little shaky incidences over the past couple of weeks, but hopefully it's all sorted out now. I see Lauren there, one of our regulars here on MCJ Report. I met Lauren in Canberra. That's right. Lauren, I believe, is from, I want to say, New South Wales or Queensland. There's Nadia there. You're saying you can hear. There's Harp 666. How are you going? And I can see a bunch of you on Facebook. Some of you on YouTube. So we are live across 3 platforms right now. That's right. Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. So I've got the chat going. I am monitoring all 3 platforms, looking at what you are putting in the comments, because at the end of the day, this is not a me thing, this is a we thing. All right, now I know that may have been a little bit cheesy, but sometimes you just have to say these things. Alrighty, so Rumble is fired up. There's Emily, there's Rachel, Bronny, Rochelle from New Zealand. How are you? How's things? Hopefully you can come and visit us sometime. Or better yet, hopefully we get Melbourne back to being the world's, quote, most livable city, and we can leave the label of the world's most lockdown city in the past. What do you think, folks? November 26th will be a very telling day in Victorian history, and that's what we're excited about. That's what we're working towards, and we are absolutely hell-bent on making it happen. Alrighty, so good stuff, guys. There's Tony, FATV Jerky. That's right. Sponsor from time to time on MCJ Report, FATV Jerky. Great product, made in Victoria from Geelong. So go and look up FATV Jerky online and go and get yourself some beef jerky, because Tony's a great guy, but more importantly, he makes a great product. That's right. The most spent city. That's right. In terms of our debt, absolutely. And do you think Daniel Andrews has a plan to repay the debt? No, He doesn't. He'll just keep privatising our public assets such as Vic Roads, using those funds for God knows what, and the debt will be somebody else's problem. That's right, maybe the next administration, but really it comes down to becoming our problem and the problem of our children and future generations. So what does Daniel Andrews say about solving the debt crisis? He says, well, we'll make a Victoria's Futures Fund, leave it to me, and I'll make all the smart investments so that Victoria can flourish. Now, you and I both know that our Premier, Daniel Andrews, he's got no experience in the real world. He's never had a real job. He's never flipped a coin. He's never picked up a hammer. And I wouldn't trust the guy to pour a glass of water, let alone make smart investments on behalf of Victoria. Just look at the debt. Okay, how is he going to make a profit for Victoria? What? Subsidizing inefficient energy sources? Is that going to make a profit for Victoria? I don't think so. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Matthew Guy has any solutions up his sleeve either. Matthew Guy, on the topic of energy, says we're going to, under a Liberal government, we're going to produce cheap and affordable energy by adopting the same strategy as the Daniel Andrews government. Anyway, it's all a bit confusing, isn't it, folks? But I think what this really tells us is that we need a changing of the guard, and we need fresh life in Parliament, and that's what we're doing with Freedom Party of Victoria. Anyway, Hayden says I need to stop saying his name. Well, we need to remember who the culprit is, I think, ladies and gentlemen. We simply cannot afford to ignore the enemy at this stage. We must stay focused. Who here agrees with that sentiment? If you do, put your thoughts in the comments. Alrighty, so I've got just a couple of articles here that I want to show you, and then I'm going to go through some general updates. So, all right, have a look at this. Now, some of you may have missed this, but this is actually very, very interesting. Firefighters Union stokes up its attack on Labor, targeting vulnerable seats. That's right. So the United Firefighters Union, very angry at Daniel Andrews and the Labor Party, and I'll tell you why. You may have missed this, so I'm just going to recap on this article for you. The UFU has escalated its feud with the Andrews government, launching a campaign to put government candidates last in key seats at the November state election. The UFU is objecting to the Andrews government's changes to compensation legislation for firefighters who develop certain types of cancers. The change replaced references to firefighter to, quote, person, in a bid to extend the compensation scheme to 90 vehicle and equipment maintenance staff. UFU Secretary Peter Marshall said members and their supporters would saturate the main streets in the seat of Richmond with a letterbox campaign targeting homes and businesses until the election. All right, so a shout out there to Peter Marshall for sticking it to Dan Andrews and the Labor Party. And this is coming at a great time because there's actually a number of unions who have expressed disdain with Daniel Andrews. So it appears that he may be actually losing his stranglehold on the unions. And I can tell you that here at Freedom Party, we are in dialogue with some unions that are fed up, and I'll have a lot more to say about that really soon. All right, so here's a letter here sent by the United Firefighters Union to an ALP candidate, once again expressing disdain. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you this is just the tip of the iceberg. The avalanche is most definitely on its way. All right, well, now I'm sure that a lot of you saw this, right? The World Health Organization declares a monkeypox emergency. So what do you think about that, folks? This is exactly how the last emergency started, with these types of statements declared by the World Health Organization. Do you think this is going to go somewhere? Do you think we're going to see monkeypox lockdowns? Do you think we're going to see new restrictions, new mandates? What do you think? Some interesting remarks made by Daniel Andrews the other day in relation to COVID restrictions, which I thought was very telling. He has called on the public to adopt a common sense approach to dealing with COVID-19, right? A stark contrast to, if you leave your home, we're going to send Victoria Police to beat you up. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, folks, is that we've got an election just around the corner. Daniel Andrews is, of course, really doing everything he can to not further piss off the public like what he's done over the past 8 years, the time of which he has been Premier. So don't buy into it. And if any of your friends and family are buying into Daniel Andrews' rhetoric about this whole use common sense and be safe, and the best way to avoid the virus is to not get the virus, etc., let them know that this is simply nothing more than campaigning, because the polls show us, based on the data from the federal election, that Labor, and Liberal, they're in a lot of trouble, and there is a vacuum for new players to enter the field. And that is something that we should all be very, very excited about. So just a couple of headlines there that I wanted to run past you. Hope that you find that interesting. And I'm going to run through some updates as well regarding our movements, what's going on in the background. Let me just make sure that you're all connected. I can see a whole bunch of you there. We've got Steve Mcclinton making some remarks about the Premier of Victoria. I agree with you, Steve. There's Sharon, very long time supporter on MCJ Report. Great to have you here. Lisa Irvine. Hey, how you going? Great to see you there as well. Common sense. He must have read your protest sign. That's right. Maybe he's finally listening, right? Finally listening for the purpose of saving his skin, something to that effect. Michelle has referred to Daniel Andrews as a, quote, tyrannical dictator. Maybe we're giving him a bit too much credit. What do you think? Dictators are generally quite powerful people. Is Daniel Andrews really powerful, or is he simply nothing more than a glorified office boy who has learnt the tactics behind manipulating politics, learning how to manipulate and massage the dynamic from within his own party? What do you think, folks? Is he really that powerful, or has he just gamed the system? I think he's just gamed the system. Nothing to worry about there. We the people power, we can get rid of him. John's making some funny comments there, so is Tony. Alrighty, so I've got some notes here. I'm just going to run through some updates. I'm just going to pull those up right now. Alrighty, so Freedom Party of Victoria, I'm really happy to say that the team is rapidly growing. That's right, we're making new appointments, building the executive team, building the administrative team, and our new professional website is going to be live this week. That's right. So just another 1 to 2 days. We have really gone all out producing a great website. I'm so excited about it. I'll most definitely be posting the link throughout the next day or two. I think that you're really going to like this website a lot. And once the website is up, we'll be doing an official call out for candidates. That's right. So maybe that's you here in Victoria. Maybe you're thinking, well, I've had enough of this government. Maybe you're thinking that you're ready to roll your sleeves up, get involved in the fight, and to take this corruption head on. If that's you, we want to hear from you. And if you can't wait for the website to be live, then why don't you go ahead, send a message to me on Facebook via the messaging capability. And what I'll do is I'll send you a candidate application form that you can fill out, and we'll have somebody from our team get in touch with you. So really, really exciting, and I can tell you that the numbers are looking very good. Also, further announcements that I'll be making during the week will be the fundraiser for Freedom Party. So that will be taking place in about 2 weeks' time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have music, games, raffles, merchandise, and just generally having a good time. So we've got some really cool ideas for fundraising. So we'll have a regular type of event in a hall somewhere where we can all get together and have a good time. But there's lots of really interesting places around the Mulgrave electorate. And Mulgrave is the first seat whereby we've endorsed a candidate, which is, of course, our Deputy Leader, Aiden Mcclinton. So one of the ideas is potentially a fundraising day at the shooting range, so we can all have a bit of fun, do some target practice, get re-equipped with rifles, and raise a bit of money for Freedom Party. Who here likes the idea of that? Another idea is going on a challenging bushwalk or something to that effect, maybe a 10 to 20 kilometer bushwalk, and you can chip in some money, grab some Freedom Party merch, and get out in nature. What do you think about that idea? If you've got other ideas, I'd like to hear from you, because we're trying to be creative here. And although this is a very challenging task that we've undertaken, I think it's also important that we enjoy ourselves along the way. Also, stay tuned over the next 48 hours, because I'm going to send out a policy survey. That's right. So I want to know what each and every one of you think, where you're at in terms of policy in Victoria. I can speak on behalf of the team when I say that we really value your feedback. So to ensure that you receive the survey, just keep a tab on my socials, or alternatively, you can become a member of Freedom Party, which doesn't cost you anything. Just head on over right now to freedomparty.net.au and you can sign up from the landing page, and the official website will be live during the week. And that way you'll be able to have your voice heard to express what's most important to you. And I think you'll enjoy filling out the survey. Let's see, where are we now? Yeah, so I touched on unions before, and I'm actually very excited to say that we're in dialogue with a few different unions who are backing away from Dan Andrews, backing away from Labor, realizing that Daniel Andrews and his colleagues are no longer standing for the working man and woman. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we come in. Also, tomorrow I'll be releasing a special report on upper house voting in Victoria. That's right. So this will be in relation to the group voting ticket, which is a system which is unfortunately unique to Victoria. So I'll be expanding on that and how the Victorian system creates an environment whereby preference deals can be exchanged for cash. That's right. Now, this has been an issue that has been ongoing in Victoria for a long time. I've been wanting to make a presentation on this for a long time, and I can tell you that I do have the information, and I'm very, very confident, should I say, to relay that to you, because I truly consider that it is in the best interest of the Victorian public to know. Let me give you a bit of an overview. So here in Victoria, voting in the upper house works very differently from voting in the Senate. Okay, if you recall from the federal election, the general instructions for voting in the Senate was number 1 to 6 above the line in numbering the parties of which you would like to get elected. So in the federal election, you choose your preferences. All right, it doesn't exactly work like that in the Victorian state election. That's right. So in the upper house ticket, and there's 8 upper house regions in Victoria, when voting above the line, all that is required of you is to number a single box. That's right, just put a number 1 above the line. So you may be thinking, well, where do my preferences go? All right, well, that's the thing. You don't choose your preferences when voting above the line in the Victorian state election. The preferences are chosen by the party that you vote for, okay? So the party that you vote for, they nominate their preference flow. They submit that flow to the VEC. That is called a group voting ticket. And voters are often left in a position whereby they think they're voting for one party, but then their vote gets transferred down the chain to a party that they would never dream about voting for in a million years. Now, the problem with this particular system is that it provides the capacity for monetization. That's right. So we will be speaking about the Glenn Jury model and how he's been able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars essentially selling preference deals in Victoria, and things that you can do to look out for this type of thing. So that will be a special presentation set to be released likely tomorrow. Alrighty, now, ladies and gentlemen, I can see many of you in the chat. So how about I just open the floor right now and let me ask you what questions you have. I can see a lot of dialogue, a lot of back and forth, maybe a little bit of sparring going on there in the comment section. So put it out there and I will do my best to answer to the best of my capability. All right, there's Lawrence there saying, what are the numbers and how does that match the real definition of the pandemic? Not sure exactly what that's in relation to. There's Kim there. Kim, great to see you. Kim's been doing some excellent work breaking down the data from the TGA. So keep an eye on the work that Kim is doing right there. There's Sonia there from Sydney. The certain comments I actually can't read, but just know that I'm seeing most of them, and some of them are quite funny. There's David there saying all the best for the election. Make sure they don't rig it. Well, what we're going to do is really do our best to ensure that we have a large amount of scrutineers across all the polling booths. Okay, so the federal election, I have to say, was a little bit of a dog's breakfast. As most of you know, I ran as an independent for the Senate, which gave me the privilege of a blank box above the line, whereby most people couldn't find it. And of course, we put on record that the AEC was actually misadvising voters. So we're not going to have that problem this time. Our party is set for registration, so it'll be very easy to find Freedom Party of Victoria above the line, and we will publish our group voting ticket ahead of time. That's right. So we will not act in any type of underhanded manner. You will know exactly what the preference flow is, and you can be sure that they will be parties that are closely ideologically aligned with ours. All right, just having a read down here. There's Julie. Let's see. Yep, I can see that you're not happy about the state of affairs, but now is the time to most definitely maintain a lot of hope, okay? Because I can tell you that myself and the team, we have been out on the streets speaking to business owners who operate businesses in the same strip where Dan Andrews' office is, and they are ready for a change. I'm telling you, this guy and what he's done to Victoria, people don't like it. And I think that we're living really in really special times. We're at a flashpoint in history, but only we can make it happen. Nikki says, how many WEF people do we have in government? Well, it's really hard to say. Not all people in government and members of parliament necessarily declare their relationship with the World Economic Forum. I think they should. And we actually do have a foreign influence registry. And if you ask me, I say, well, the World Economic Forum is a multilateral foreign organization. It's supposedly a think tank for policy development. And therefore, ideas that come out of this particular think tank are of an influential nature. So therefore, why does the World Economic Forum not fit the criteria for foreign influence? What do you think? Am I missing something? Put your thoughts in the comments. Let's see. Anthony says that Dictator Andrews he's just trying to suck up to us before the election. That's right. Well, he certainly is, but I urge each and every one of you, do not buy into what this man says, because as you know, he is a compulsive liar. Okay, so let's see. There's Paul there. Paul says, explain how Animal Justice Party Andy Medic got in. That's right. Well, yes, Andy Medic was, of course, elected, and I believe he only received a couple of percentage of the vote. So how he was elected is based on the group voting tickets that were submitted in his upper house region, tickets that gave him from Animal Justice Party preferential treatment over other parties and candidates. So I can certainly crunch the numbers and show you exactly how and why somebody like him was able to get elected, given the fact that he is a nobody. That's right. So this really comes back down to preference deals for cash, and it's no secret that if you can start a party and you happen to have 50 grand in the bank, then you too could be walking down the halls of Parliament in the upper house and looking very important. That's right. So don't worry, we're going to talk about that, and I'll fill you in on all that sort of stuff, because it is in the best interest of the public to understand how it all works, so that you, the Victorian voter, can make an informed decision. And then Susan there telling me that I'm supposedly a voice of common sense. Well, thank you very much. I'll take that compliment, and that's very kind of you to say. All right, just there's Kim there saying that it's not worth us referring to Daniel Andrews as powerful. That's right. And you know, Daniel Andrews would very much like to be perceived as being powerful. So I think the best thing we can do is deny him that particular gratification, because I'm sure that he thrives off it. And let's just keep on calling him what he is, nothing more than a glorified office boy. That's right. All right, let's see. What do we have here? There's Tammy Jane doing a great job. Tammy, it's great to have you here. I'm looking for questions here. I see a lot of statements. So, guys, you got me live, so ask me some questions and I'll do my best to answer. Catherine says Daniel Andrews is owned by the CCP. Well, I'm not so sure anymore, Catherine. I think the Chinese Communist Party might not be all that happy with Daniel Andrews after he was not successfully able to bring the Belt and Road Initiative into Victoria to its full extent. Sure, he palmed off a train manufacturing contract to China, right, that should have been undertaken by an Australian company, and we do have train manufacturing capability here. But by this point, the Chinese Communist Party were under the impression that they would have all different types of offices set up in Melbourne, from different types of commercial Chinese Communist-backed lending institutions, infrastructure firms. The whole lot was on the cards. And so I'm not sure exactly what they think of Daniel Andrews right now, but in Daniel Andrews' mind, he says, well, if I can't get money from the CCP, I'll just keep privatizing public-owned assets and use those funds for whatever I feel like doing. All right, he doesn't have a plan to balance the debt. He doesn't have a plan to bring an economic return to Victoria. Ask the Liberals if they do. Maybe they do. I'm not sure. I really haven't seen anything too compelling. Alex says that we've had enough of Andrews. All right. Well, you know what you need to do? If you've had enough of Andrews, you need to descend on the seat of Mulgrave, support Aiden, our deputy leader and candidate for the seat of Mulgrave, get the word out there, knock on doors, make it known to the community, the people of Mulgrave, that Dan Andrews is not fit for purpose. He is not there representing them. And let's vote him the hell out of office. How about that? Now, you've got to remember, the seat of Mulgrave, it's not that big. Only a very, very small fraction of Victorians actually voted for this man to be in office. Yet he's just in there walking around, kind of like the tail wagging the dog. But folks, those days are going to come to an end. Alrighty, what do we have here? There's Tammy saying it sounds fun. I think I'm a little bit behind in the comments, so I'm just going to scroll down a bit. Susan says both ideas are great. I think you're talking about the fundraising ideas. So a bushwalk. I say we go to a firing range and we pick up some rifles and we can compare afterwards who's the best shot and raise some money for Freedom Party that way. Who here is keen on that idea? And just so happens there's a range in Dan Andrews' electorate. So how about we descend over there? There's John Turk Rambo. How you going, my friend? All right, looking for questions. There's Terry there. I'm not sure. I don't want to get done for incitement, my friend. And speaking of incitement, Victoria Police are just throwing out incitement charges like they're throwing out rubbish, and that's because the incitement charges were rubbish. And before I forget, stay tuned, because we will be doing a press conference very soon out the front of a Victoria Police station. I think it's fair to say that Shane Padden, the police commissioner, not fit for purpose. I think he has acted in a politicised manner in his capacity as police commissioner. And stay tuned, I'll be calling for him to resign very soon. What else do we have here? Steve says that you're sorry, but you feel that the voting system is corrupted. Okay, well, all I can say is that we must do everything in our power to change the course of history in our state. We know that the odds are stacked against us. We know the government has a million tricks up their sleeve. They have the mainstream media up their sleeve. What we need to do is roll up our sleeves and work 1,000 times harder than them. Okay? You know what I say? Go all out and have no regrets. There's Sammy there. How you going? Peter says, are there any freedom parties I recommend in Sydney? There is a party by the name of Call to Freedom Party. Okay, very similar. So I suggest that you do a Google search, look them up, and it's run by a gentleman called Milan. So try and get in touch with him and have a chat, and we're talking to them as well. And the New South Wales election, of course, is coming up next year. So should we have a successful result, and I am very confident that we will, I give my commitment that myself and the team, Freedom Party of Victoria, we will help the real freedom parties of New South Wales as well, because at the end of the day, we're all Aussies and this is our country. Tammy says that you haven't received your paperwork yet from the AEC. Okay, great. So, all right, who became a member of Freedom Party of Victoria? All right, if you didn't, the link is in the description of this video. Go and become a member. But people who became a member should have by now received their confirmation from the VEC in the mail. If you have not received it and if you became a member, what you need to do is contact the VEC and advise them that you haven't received your letter, and they should be able to sort it out. If you have received the letter, all you need to do is fill it out, place the letter into the reply paid envelope and send it back, and that's really all that is required. Wendy says, is Aiden Mcclinton still going ahead with the class action? Yeah, absolutely. He is on it. He is doing a wonderful job standing up for his fellow former teachers from Max, that's Catholic Education, in regards to the unfair dismissal of many staff. That's right. So over 1,000 came out, and that was just throughout Catholic Education. So we can't help but think how many other teachers and people from different industries have been let go, have been fired for no fault of their own. So make no mistake about it, guys. We're in a long fight right here, and justice must be obtained by any means necessary. All right. Rex says that damn Demick has a stranglehold on the election. We got to get this thief out. Absolutely. Well, I'll say the same thing. Support Aiden, come down to the seat of Mulgrave, become a member of Freedom Party of Victoria. Everything we are doing is structured. So all of our volunteers will be able to attend our training seminars. Everybody will receive the necessary equipment and bits and pieces to head out into the electorate. Nobody will be left behind. The manner in which we are setting up our organization is such that whether you're a volunteer on the ground, a candidate, or you're working in a different capacity, you will always have a point of contact for support. So if you're out door knocking, handing out flyers, you get stuck, there's a problem, something happens, you'll be able to pick up your phone and call someone, and we're going to be there to help you. Okay, so this is the very, very strong mantra that I'm pushing, and that is that with Freedom Party, nobody that works with us or volunteers gets left behind. Alrighty. Tony says, you think that I've learned a lot from the election. I've learned so much from the federal election. It's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. The biggest thing I've learned is that strong cooperation, communication with like-minded parties is key. That's right. Strategically targeting areas that are winnable is key. Not wasting your time in areas that are very heavily densely populated with unwinnable constituents. Not worth your time. Don't waste your human resources. Don't spread yourself too thin. So there's so much going on. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down here. Having a look at Rumble. I can see 55 of you on Rumble, and there's not many people making comments, so don't be shy. Put a question in the comments. And there's Kim there that sent off your registration for Freedom Party. Thank you. It is a pleasure to have you on board. Rex says they've never questioned factional communist socialist left. So I think you're speaking about Daniel Andrews, right? Clearing out his cabinet, getting rid of anyone from the so-called right-wing faction of the Labour Party, and bringing in the socialist left. What could possibly go wrong? But according to Daniel Andrews, it's not about left or right. It's about appointing people who are most qualified to do the job, right? Because we all know that Daniel Andrews is running a merit-based government with only the best economists, only the best urban planners, only the most well-versed people in education, right? No. Actually, it's musical chairs for his mates, and you don't even need experience in the real world. What an absolute disgrace. We can't go on like this. We just can't. All right, scrolling down here. I'm so far behind in the comments. Thank you so much for all the nice things that you're saying. There's Tim Vavoda there. How you going, my friend? Great to see you. Hope to see you soon. I see some people laughing, having a good time. That's always good to see. June says, do a petition to get rid of him. Petitions, they don't really get rid of people, but they do have their time and place. So if anybody has a good idea for a petition, then put your thoughts in the comments, because I'd really like your input. What sort of petition do you think I should be putting out there? How about you go and put that in there? All right, just scrolling down here. All right, there's Van Presser saying, Morgan, do you ever see direct democracy being instigated in Australia? Well, I dream about it being instigated in Australia. And for anyone who is unaware of the system of direct democracy, it is basically what I would describe as true democracy, whereby everyday civilians are able to get involved in the legislative process of Parliament. Okay, so in other words, should there be a critical bill introduced to Parliament that has the capability to affect the way we live, the way we work, and our freedoms, in a system of direct democracy, citizens would have the capability to intervene and to vote on that bill for the purpose of either blocking, amending, or passing. I'm a huge fan of this system. It is active in some countries around the world, and also coupled with direct democracy. I spoke about this a lot during the federal campaign. I really like the idea that people who hold key senior bureaucratic positions are voted in by the public rather than the process of political appointment. And maybe if that was the case, we never would have ended up with somebody like Shane Patton as our police commissioner. What do you think about that? So that's probably more of a federal issue rather than a state issue. But should I be elected to Parliament, then you can absolutely count on me lobbying people in the federal Parliament for that particular type of system, because we need power in our hands, right? Democracy is when people have the power, when people know everything about their government, and tyranny is when government has all the power and the government knows everything about us. So we don't want tyranny. Alrighty, now what do we have here? It looks like we're frozen. All right, well that's no good. I hope that we're not. I hope that we're back soon. Looks like we've just lost a very significant amount of viewers. Let me see what's going on here. Appears to be connected from my end, so I'll just wait for some comments to reappear, and let me see. Disconnected? We're disconnected. So it seems we're disconnected, good ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like we're gone. And well, Sharon's saying that it's not frozen, so let's see. I'm just going to keep an eye on the comments, and let me just see. If anyone's... Sarah says that we're still here. Well, I'd like to thank everybody who's still on board. Let's see. Morgan is playing statues. There's my friend Lisa there. Lisa, always a pleasure when you are on board. Trina says it's frozen. Okay, so YouTube, it's working. Facebook, it's not. Rumble, it's fine. Okay, so 2 out of 3 platforms are working. Facebook is not. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? Oh, okay. Okay, it looks like we're good. Alrighty, so tell me what you think about this format. I like being able to interact with each and every one of you, but what I'm really looking forward to are our events for Freedom Party. That's right. So we're just going straight into the lion's den. We'll do our press conferences. We'll attack the ambulance issue, the hospital issue, elective surgery, what's going on in our schools, the loss of parental rights, okay, parents losing rights over their children in terms of all types of things, from various types of surgeries. And I think you know where I'm heading with that. So I want to take each and every one of you with me, because this is a great journey and we can only do it as a team. So please remember that. All right, it looks like we're back now. It looks like there was just a little bit of a bumpy road. Alrighty, so okay, so I'll answer some questions. And there's my mate Steve Riley. How you going, my friend? Always a pleasure when you are on board the MCJ report. Great to see you. Emily Studd says, what is Freedom Party's view on remaining worker mandates? Well, we don't support any mandates for any person, okay? So we don't support it, we're against it, and that's our stance, and it's not changing. There's Ray there saying West Victoria is still good. Well, we want the whole of Victoria to be good, right? Okay, all right. So it looks like we are actually functioning now. Typical Facebook shutting shutting down. I know. Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? All right. Sarah says, can we get more forms for family members to join your party? Yeah, so absolutely, Sarah. The best thing you can do to get your family to sign up to Freedom Party is just send them a text message directing them to www.freedomparty.net.au, and the landing page is live right now. There's a button whereby they can become a member, and our new and amazing site will be live in just a couple of days. All right, so that's the best thing. Just send an SMS. That's a great idea. All your friends, all your family, we want everybody to get involved. freedomparty.net.au. We want you on our team. Nadia says that there's no sound. I'm not sure why. I think everyone else is getting sound. Yep, that's right. And I think the protesters every Saturday are doing a wonderful job holding the line. And there's my mate Tony there. FATV jerky. made in Victoria. All right, let's see. And there's Sammy there. Sammy, thank you for the kind words. It's your words of encouragement that keeps me going. And when things all seem very difficult and challenging, it's the encouragement that I receive from you guys that allows me to remember why I'm doing this, and you put the wind in my sails. So thank you for doing that. But of course, we are a nexus, and one part cannot exist without the other part, and that's something that is truly special about our movement. If you go to, say, other political functions, it's very stale. Nobody really likes each other, but what we are building is actually more than that. It is a movement, and I think that's something that is special and that we can all be very proud about. And there's my friend Gail Marie. How you going? Great to see you. And there's Andrew Visser. Andrew, I really enjoy your commentary. Thank you for all the support you show. And Tony says, Morgan, take me by the hand. I'll follow. Oh, Tony. It's so... Gotta love Tony. What a great guy. And there's Kurt saying that you joined Freedom Party. Welcome to the team. It's fantastic to have you. We'll send you an email soon. And get ready for a dogfight. All right, can I speak like that? We don't have to be polished, do we, ladies and gentlemen? Because this is a dogfight, and believe me, it's going to get messy. But I think that we're born for it. Remember, Victoria is the Latin word for victory. Okay? I know that over 100,000 Victorians have left our state. But for those of us here, I think that we need to stay staunch, and we don't flee, we fight, okay? And if you are thinking about leaving, at least wait until after the election. That is just one thing that I ask of you. Timmy says, anyone know of a doctor or medical center you can go to without wearing a mask? I wasn't aware that was even a requirement. That actually sounds a bit strange to me. Mary says, Morgan, are you running in a seat for the Freedom Party? Yes, I will indeed be running in the state election, and I will be announced later on in the week. So stay tuned. Rex says we should make a commercial for our election. Well, we are going to make many, and we're so blessed and fortunate because all the right people are coming into our team at Freedom Party. The right candidates, the right people who contribute the necessary skills. So we have a wonderful videographer who will be making some really powerful short video clips. And stay tuned because I'm really excited about that. There's Katarona. Thank you very much. Tammy says you like the casual chat. Yeah, a bit casual tonight. Not so much of a serious MCJ report, just one bullet point after another, just smash it through. So Nadia says that she's seeing a black screen. Is anyone else experiencing that? I don't think so. What else do we have? Sammy says you're ready. Get ready. Emily says your question must have been missed. What was your question? It is hard to keep up with all of them. So just know that it's not personal. And I'm not laughing at you. I read a comment out of the corner of my eye. Nicholas asking, can I replay my interview with Neil Mitchell? It's on my Facebook page. So go to my Facebook page. Up the top, click on the videos tab, and you can go and relive the moment where I dished it out to Neil Mitchell, and there was one part of the conversation where he was silent for about 5 seconds. So I'm not sure how many people have done that to Neil Mitchell, but I certainly had a good time. And Neil, if you're listening, if you'd like to have me back on the show, then I'm available. And I think actually it was a very exciting couple of minutes for your audience, and I'm sure that it was probably good for 3AW. People were very engaged, so happy to go back on. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. We are made to overcome, so stand firm. That's right. There's Cade. How you going? Cade Dillon, great to see you. Nadia, I think there's an issue with your phone. Thanks, Tammy. Tammy, I will let you know ahead of time what's going on that front, and it would be my pleasure if you would attend and film my me getting announced for my run at the state election, and it wouldn't be complete without you there. All right, just having a read through. I'm looking for questions, but there's a lot of statements. I'm definitely hearing each and every one of you. Definitely hearing you. Not seeing many question marks. Yeah, so Emily is asking about the mandate. So anyone who's followed me throughout my journey during these strange few years knows that I am against mandates. That's right. We don't support them. People should have the right to choose. But in addition to that, I think the Therapeutic Goods Administration has a lot to answer for. That's right. I've documented over the past 2 years or longer the many policies that have seemingly been changed overnight from within the Therapeutic Goods Administration. So I think there's a lot more to simply just ending the mandates. There are many questions and investigations that need to proceed moving forward. What do you guys think? All right, just reading down here. There's Joseph there saying a prayer for us. Thank you, Joseph. Okay. Just reading down. There's Harps there asking, when are we going shooting? Well, stay tuned. If you've signed up to the email at either mcjreport.com or if you have become a member of Freedom Party via freedomparty.net.au, you will receive an email invitation, and I will post across my socials. So just make sure that you keep your eyes open, and that way you won't miss it. All right, someone's asking me, how do you plan on winning without billions of dollars from Clive Palmer? All right, folks, you need a lot more than money to win elections, okay? So you can have all the money in the world, all the billboards in the world. It does not necessarily mean a thing. Look at the Teal campaign. Yes, they had money behind them, but they ran a grassroots campaign, okay? Yes, they had many years of coverage in terms of the cause that they were advocating for. But folks, what you need is hard work and to outwork and outperform your opponents 1,000 times over. And that's what I believe that we have as a team. Nikki says, will I continue these chats if I become Premier? Well, I would not say no to being Premier, but at this stage, I'll be very happy for just one seat. But if I am elected, I give you my absolute commitment that I will continue these chats. What my plan is, should I be fortunate enough to get elected, is to continue running MCJ Report once a week, but to go through legislation with the public, to explain legislation so that you can be better informed at home what bills the politicians are voting on. You see, the way it works at the moment with, unfortunately, most members of Parliament is they just simply don't read the bills that come across their desk. That's right. They're told by the party room what bills to say yes to, which bills to say no to. They get in line and the legislation stays on their desk. Okay, this is the wrong way for an MP to work and behave, and it's extremely lazy, and the public deserves better. So I give you my word that should I get in, I will continue MCJ Report. I will show the legislation on the screen, highlight areas of interest/concern so that the public can be better informed. And this is the type of society that I dream about, really, where the average citizen knows exactly what is going on within the walls of Parliament, not only the other way around. Does that make sense? Sammy says, heck yes. Susan, the replay on Facebook will be available for viewing as soon as this broadcast comes to an end. David says, why aren't the freedom parties joining each other as one voice? That's a great question, and I'm glad that you asked that question. And there's a few reasons, okay? Now, one of the reasons is that would actually weaken us. That's right. So because there are a few different parties out there who are, say, sharing a common cause in terms of, let's just say, for argument's sake, the general freedom for people to live their lives and the general reduction of government. Even among the different parties, there are several nuances in terms of other policy, okay? So, for instance, the Liberal Democrats, they come from a very libertarian perspective. Now, look at a party such as the DLP, okay, the Democratic Labour Party. They share some of the policies with LDP in terms of, say, no mandates, but they come from more of a social conservative perspective, okay? Or maybe if you're more interested in economics and protecting Australian industry, then you would want to choose a party that puts Aussie industries and jobs front and center, along with, of course, being against the mandates, all right? So I think there's a party like that out there, and the name of that party is Freedom Party of Victoria. So we are very staunchly in favour of Australian-made, owned, restricting foreign ownership, and of course, we're against any of these ridiculous government measures that impede on our freedom. So what's important is that the right parties will communicate and cooperate. And I can't speak for other parties. I can only speak for us. And it's really up to the voter at the end of the day who they decide. Okay, so mandates is one thing. Social policy and economic policy, critically important. Okay, so you got to get across that as well. Tammy says there was a rumor Dan Andrews was going to resign. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe he's running scared, and we've announced Aiden for the seat of Mulgrave, and I don't think Dan Andrews wants any of that, so we'll have to see what happens on that front. But he may be planning his exit plan. And that's actually what we titled our press conference, Exit Plan for Dan. So happy to take credit for that. Simon says, I made Neil Mitchell look rude and arrogant, and that I belittled him like what he does to everyone else. Well, that was the goal. I mean, I thought, this guy's a bully. He's arrogant. He brings guests on. He turns his mic up. He drowns other people out. He's a bully. He puts people down. He insults them. He says shocking things to his guests to try and stun them into silence. So I thought, that's just not cool. I don't care who you are. You don't treat people like that. And anybody that treats anyone like that, once in a while they need a taste of their own medicine. What do you think, guys? There's Mark Rowley. How you going? So that's our slogan, jobs, homes, and families. And we believe that is the foundation for strong communities, strong societies. And we consider that all three of those areas have been under attack, and they need protecting and they need building up. Hey, Tammy, how you going? I probably can't repeat that last thing. Yeah, there's Gail there, and I can tell you we absolutely support pensioners and anyone who's vulnerable. Okay, so off the top of my head, I think that pensioners should be able to earn extra income and go out and work whilst not having their pension affected in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so we're all about standing alongside people, especially during vulnerable stages of their lives. Steve says, would I mandate the media to speak the truth? Oh, well, or maybe what we need is to not interfere in the mainstream media, but to introduce a new mainstream channel on television and give people in the alternative media space the opportunity to reach Victorians in their households in front of their televisions without using the internet. Who here likes the idea of that? Who here thinks that independent media would dominate if it was readily accessible to millions of Victorians or Australians that are sitting on the couch after work? What do you reckon? I think I like that idea more. There's a soundtrack saying, "What's the reason why you left UAP?" All right, I documented that quite thoroughly. You know what? That's in the past. That's done. We're focused on Freedom Party. We're focused on Victoria, getting rid of Dan and taking back our state. But if you really want to, just go through my videos. I explained it a lot of times. There's Emily there. All right. And Kim says you like the idea of people being able to watch MCJ on TV. Well, that's true, MCJ Report. So a new television station where people can just pick up their remote control, turn it on, and tune into MCJ Report or Rebel News, or stay up to date with what Tammy Jane is doing. I say that's what we need. All right, guys. Smart city contracts. Yeah, well, this all comes down to of course, the influence from these unelected multilateral organizations that seek to essentially craft and dictate our policy here in Australia. So I'm always standing on the side of autonomy. I believe we should be responsible for our own legislation. We don't need to be taking direction from these so-called global think tanks. We are Australians. We're a diverse and very intelligent bunch, and we're capable of making good, sound legislation on our own. We don't need these people in the World Economic Forum or the United Nations telling us what to do. All right? That's our job. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'd really like to thank everybody for tuning in, keeping me company, having a good talk. If you'd like to become a member of Freedom Party, the link is in the description of this video. That is freedomparty.net.au. Stay tuned. Our incredible website will be launched in the coming days. All right. Also, tomorrow I'll be releasing a presentation on the group voting ticket here in Victoria and how preference deals are sold for cash. All right. So make sure that you stay tuned on that as well. And also, we'll be calling out for candidates. So I think that, if you're feeling that itch and you want to get in the boxing ring, then we want to hear from you. If you don't want to wait for the website to go live, send a message to me on Facebook via my public page, Morgan C. Jonas. All right. Lots of love. Thank you for being here. Stay strong because victory is within arm's reach. Have a great night.
Mm-hmm.